Welcome to Impact. After what happened last week, when NXT was on the same night as Impact, gave me a little bit of a fear. Because, generally speaking, Impact doesn't have great numbers. We know this. We don't have exact numbers because the Nielsen rating doesn't work on Access TV because that's a company outside of America. But, if you look at JD, New York, he did find out what the numbers generally were for Access. It wasn't perfect, but from what he did hear, they lost 50,000 people to NXT on Access TV. And generally the numbers are near 200,000. From what I understand, it's like, from what he said, 150,000 normally. My guess is they might be near 200,000, counting on which week we're talking about. I don't think they lose too much. I don't think they gain too much. It's roughly around 200,000. Or at least between 150 to 200,000. They lost 50,000 people, so they went down to 100,000. That's not good. They need to do something about that. I don't like that. That's lower than NWA. And NWA didn't even at least have even a network at the time. They just had YouTube. Maybe they need to do more YouTube stuff for their shows. But, taking away from that, this show felt like a bounce back. Even though this was filmed weeks ahead of time. This kind of felt like a bounce back of what happened last week when NXT pretty much messed them up. Now, opening of the show was Eric Young, the madman himself. I gotta say this about Eric Young. This is new life for him. You can see the passion that he's giving off when he does his promos, when he does this type of situation. I do like it quite a lot. Now, Eddie Edwards' wife came out, Alyssa, facing him and saying, "My man's going to come and kick your ass, and I'm angry that you hurt my man." And she smacked him a couple of times in the face. And the thought that went through my head was, EY, pile drive her ass. If he's supposed to be a psychopath, the great psychopath of Impact Wrestling, he had to pile drive her ass. And he tried until Tommy stopped him. That I kind of wish didn't happen. I'm being honest here, guys. Taking away from what happened at the end of the night, and I will get to it. I would have liked to see Alyssa take the damn pile driver. She needed to take it. She needed to get wiped out to really give more to EY. That's how I feel. But Tommy saved her. I'll get to that in a few minutes, what's going on. Now, a match that didn't make any sense. Chris Bey versus TJP. Why did Chris Bey have to have a match against... Why? Why? Why did TJ Perkins get this? They didn't have a fight last week. That would be the best guess for me. If they had a fight that was on Impact, and then it's Chris Bey himself that said, "Hey, I want this," that would make sense. But there was nothing. And there was not even a segment where Raju had manipulated the bosses in the back, the brass in the back, to get the match. They just do it. And that makes no sense. They have a rematch clause for the X Division. They do, as far as I understand. They never said they didn't. So what the hell happened here? It wasn't about the match itself. I actually did enjoy the match. That was the second best match of the night for me personally. It just was. Second best match of the night, hands down, no problem. And in the end, TJP wins, and now suppose he's going to get a title shot. Title shot. You see I'm botching here. It doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with this booking. I love the match. You got two X Division guys going at it who are actually very good. With TJ Perkins, the guy really is one of the best mat-based, high-flyer, and submission wrestlers you can find. In fact, I had to remember, I was wondering, when was the last time TJP actually went up against DJZ? When was the last time he went up with Zema Ion? In Impact Wrestling, as far as I know, 2016. I actually had to look it up during the break with Melissa Santos, where she was begging, "Hey, I want to be a manager. Who do you think I should be?" And she was asking the chat. It was silly. But while that was done, I went to see. And it was 2016, generally, the last time they really wrestled one another. And that's when TJP was manic. He is one of the best wrestlers, not taking anything away from Chris Bay. The smooth criminal, not the ultimate finesser, the smooth criminal. He will steal anything he wants. But in this situation, didn't. Let's move on. Now, Brian Myers had his segment calling out the Willie Mack. Willie Mack comes out. Brian Myers is telling him beforehand, I'm the one who paved the way for you. Shake my hand and show me respect. Willie said, nope. In fact, I ain't gonna dare, I'm not even coming close to that hand. Covert, he didn't say it, but he's kind of like that. And he said, we're gonna have a match now because of what happened last week. And here's the thing. I expected it to be 50-50 booking. Nope. He won again. Even though he had to do a nut shot, he won again. And now, supposedly, they're going to have a third match next week. What does this actually mean? I don't know. When it comes to Brian Myers, I'm just... Is he going to go on a winning streak, cheating all he needs to throughout the entire show? That actually would be a bit of a contrast. Because in WWE, they made him have a losing streak that, what I understand, at one point, he didn't want it to end. He wanted to pay off, but the WWE messed it up. They messed it up. He wanted to drag out longer so it can really make it mean something, but they didn't do it. So here, maybe they're going to put him on a winning streak, and even it doesn't matter if he wins because he got to cheat. You ain't cheating, you ain't winning. Maybe they're going to do that. I don't know. Now, let's get to a quick segment of the guy who has kids with his best friend, Rhino. You got the Heath, still not working for Impact, still trying to convince people, and he needs advertisement. But now he's out of money. You got Rhino that says, you need money? I know a way you can get a big wad of money. All the bills you need. So, if this was to set up Heath getting in for advertisement, then it makes some sense. If they set up Hernandez to have a huge wad of cash, so this wad of cash would promote the Heath so he can get into Impact, that will be something different. I haven't seen that before. They're trying to get him in through advertisement, not through tricking someone, not through trying to hurt somebody, not through wrestling. They're actually trying to use advertisement. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying that's different. Now, Jordynne Grace had her moment. She was not happy about what Tennille Dashwood did and kept saying, where the hell has she been for months? Let's go find out while she was doing an interview. And they ran into Tennille Dashwood's photographer who was taking pictures of her, but she wasn't there, but they were showing images of her. I didn't take the pictures of her, guys. You already know what Tennille looks like. She's a damn fine woman. And she's a foodie, for what I understand. She loves food. Marry me. I need someone to cook for me. And who can wrestle her ass off and play off a face or a heel and be one hell of a great businesswoman, which she is. Like many wrestlers, they have to know how to wrestle, at least to a certain extent, how to promote themselves, how to be a good business person. Let me marry you. Anyway, I don't know how far they're going to go with this feud, but the question is, will it be good? Now how do I approach this? I am not happy about RVD and Penelope Forbes. No, you see, I don't even want to do this. Katie Forbes, not Penelope Forbes. I'm sorry, guys. I got this confused because I don't want to see this. You got RVD working with Sami Callihan, who should not be working with RVD. Particularly, there's no title on the line. There's no real interest. They're floating. You see Sami in my face. This made no sense why they're doing this. Yes, the whole effing show is going to be an actual show next week. Katie Forbes and RVD now have their own show. Next to Wrestle House, which is now ended, and next to Locker Room Talk, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But now they have their own show next week, and now Sami's going to try and crash it. I don't want to see this. I am angry about this. Sami should be doing something more. He should be in the main title picture eventually. I'm sorry. I'm not saying anything about Eric Young. I'm glad he's in the main title. But what is he doing? I'd rather see him working with Moose. And that is Sammy. And let's get to Moose. Moose had been giving a lot of hints. He went back to his old alma mater back in high school. Met his old coach. And he asked him, hey, have you seen this guy named EC3? He said no. But then you can see he'd been coerced by EC3 and a whole bunch of guys, and I don't have the shot of it, a whole bunch of guys tried to jump him. And now we got EC3 coercing more and more people. It's like he's hypnotizing them. The narrative is real. But the question is, how far are they going to go with this narrative? How far are they going to make the Impact, well, not the Impact, the TNA title mean when it's all said and done? Because remember, guys, this is a debunked title. Impact Wrestling has a title called Impact World Heavyweight Title. They do not have the TNA World Heavyweight Title. Unless they're going to make it a mid-card title, which they desperately need. The TNA television title. Call it that. Impact Wrestling, please. Call the TNA World Heavyweight Championship the TNA television title. At least then you got it. And even if Moose has to defend it weekly, at least you got a television title where people could actually go for it. Please. Let's move on. Rascals versus the Motor City Machine Guns. This was the best match of the night for me personally. Now, the thing that gets me was not the ending. I wasn't surprised about all 5 teams showing up to show that they have more teams than WWE. More than SmackDown, more than Raw. What is the Street Profits doing? Nothing. I don't even remember who the ones who are currently the champions in SmackDown. Who are the champions of SmackDown? It's not Miz and Morrison. I don't even remember. You could tell me below who is the current champs in SmackDown. As far as I know, on Raw, it's the Street Profits, and they're doing nothing. Nothing. So at least here you got 5 teams. Well, actually 6 when you count Reno Scum. And 7 when you count Heath, as well as Rhino. That's great. You got 7 teams on Impact Wrestling. You just got to actually promote them. There you go. But I did enjoy the match. Seeing the Motor City Machine Guns work makes me think, how would they respond in AEW compared to all those other teams? It would be interesting to see how fast they were against the Bucks. How smooth they are against FTR. But to be honest, seeing so many teams in AEW, they will get lost in the shuffle, and they don't need to go there. At least in Impact Wrestling, they're on top and they're relevant. Let's move on. Now, Tasha Steelz versus Taya. And the reason Taya Valkyrie was involved in this is because the wedding is still going on. I really don't want to see the wedding. But in a sense, I do want to see where they're going to go with this when it comes to this triangle, because the wedding isn't the key here. It's seeing how long this friendliness between Rosemary and Taya lasts until there's a collapse and these two go at it. And once again, Johnny Bravo will be caught in the middle. That's what I think is going to happen. But this was about the hood rats of Tasha Steelz and the Kiera Hogan. If I had to choose between Tasha and Kiera Hogan, I'm choosing Kiera Hogan. I'm in love with that woman. She's gorgeous. Not because she got a big fat booty. She just is a sweet person. Not saying Tasha isn't either. But there's just something about her. Maybe it's because she's from Atlanta, Georgia. That woman just seemed to have something special. Compared to Tasha that's from the damn New York. And in New York City, we just crazy. You never know. But this was becoming, well, this was because it just, why are you trying to convince a Johnny Bravo to have more stones? Well, it makes sense because you want the division between Taya and Rosemary to continue. So when you see the two having a problem because Johnny Bravo's not happy, it makes sense. Now, Johnny was on his phone during the match. Not surprised. Taya still won, but Tasha was not happy because she got the road to Valhalla in her ass. In the end, she got wasted. I wasn't surprised. But now, the final match of the night. Now, if I forgot anything, I'm sorry. I'm sure I forgot something. I always do. you got Tommy versus... I love Tommy Dreamer. I love Eric Young. We always see a hardcore match from Tommy because he can't wrestle a major ordinary match anymore. Not because he's too fat, but because he's much more older. He just can't go like he used to, so he's got to really do what he's got to do. Doing what he does here makes sense for him. And to be honest, I'd rather not see him constantly keep doing hardcore matches. Or tag matches for that matter. I'm not telling him for the retirement. But I'd rather see him as a manager now. And very rarely go into the ring and make those matches mean something. This is the thing. I'm trying not to stretch this beyond 20 minutes, but I want to make it quick. This is the thing. Tommy should be a manager at this age. And only rarely go into the ring and make these matches mean something. He should be a manager dealing with another person who is a hardcore person. That's how I feel he should be. Hell, he can manage Crazy Steve, who can do hardcore. That's what I think he should be doing. In the end, Eric Young wins. I'm not surprised. He gets his butt kicked. Then Eric Young tries to break his leg. Then we got Rich Swann show up, limping along, and he's back. He doesn't care. He wants to destroy Eric Young for what he did. Bouncing back. And I think that'll be the best title for this because you see Richard Swann back, or Rich Swann, I like to call him Richard sometimes. He's back to show that he still is relevant, that he's special, that no matter if his leg's screwed up, he's still going to mean something. And that's the end of the show. Now, was this a good show? I don't agree with everything. But this was a good show. Flat out, hands down. But this is just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. And I haven't done the Impact intro yet. If you see my AEW intro, it is on my channel. That will be used tomorrow if AEW will be seen, which it shall be. When it's done, you'll see your new intro for Impact Wrestling. Peace.